All right, then. So today we are going to be talking about tech terminology. So often, many tech-related lingos come up when we're talking about technology. So the objective of this presentation is to offer insight into some of the language that often appears during tech sessions like this one. First off, we have a VPN. A VPN, also known as a virtual private network, creates a network for your device on a public internet, which allows you to be anonymous online. It also helps secure your online privacy, so confidential information and your browsing habits can be protected. If you want to learn more about VPNs, when you get your copy of the slideshow, you can click on the link to watch a past webinar on VPNs. Next up, we have IP addresses. An IP address, or an Internet Protocol address, is a string of numbers, like the one up here, assigned to all devices that connect to the internet. Each IP address is unique to the individual device, and they are the identifiers that allow information to be sent between a device on a net and other devices on a network. They contain information like location, and they are also necessary for devices to be able to communicate with each other. Next up, we have a CPU, which stands for Central Processing Unit. It's kind of like the brains of an electronic device. It takes the instructions from programs and different apps on your device and executes them. Almost all of your devices will have a CPU, including desktop computers, laptops, smartphones, and tablets. They also have other common features like a CPU, memory, display functionality, and an operating system that runs programs for different functions. Next up, another hardware component is RAM. RAM, which stands for Random Access Memory, stores the data in your electronic device. It stores all of your programs, so the more RAM you have, the faster your device will run. Similarly to a CPU, every computing device has RAM, whether it's a desktop computer, a tablet, a smartphone, and even some special purpose devices like a smart TV have RAM in them. So now we're going to talk about front-end and back-end. First off, front-end refers to all the components of an application or website that a user can see. This often is, as the thing shows, it refers to websites. And in terms of websites, it can be all the visual and interactive features that the user and consumer can use. Alternatively, we have the backend, which refers to all the components behind the scenes that makes the website or application work, but the user can't see it themselves. So this can be all the code and other features in the background. On a similar theme with websites, we have HTML, which stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It's considered one of the basic building blocks of the web and defines the structure and meaning of web content. On a different note, we have AI, which stands for Artificial Intelligence, which can refer to applications or machines that simulate human intelligence or behaviors. Examples of this are Siri, and I have to say this because I have one in my room, Alexa. One second. Cancel. Yeah, sorry, this happens. But they're intelligence assistants that can search the web and set alarms and do many other things for users automatically. If you want to learn more about AI assistants, when you get your copy of the webinar, you can click on the link here. Next up, we have biometrics. Biometric technology refers to something that can identify someone based on unique measurements that are related to their body, such as their face or their fingerprints or their eyes. There's a lot of things they can pick from. You often see this with your phone, such as this. You can have either the fingerprint reader, or on some iPhones, they have like Face ID, which scans your faces. and this is used to help maintain security on different devices and systems. Next up, we have cloud computing, which is a way of storing information online so multiple individuals can access it from separate devices at the same time. For example, if you added a photo to the cloud, another person or you can access that same photo from their device, or if you have a separate device, you could still see it since it's in the cloud. If you want to learn more, you can click on the link here when you get your copy of the webinar slideshow. Next up, we have the Internet of Things, which involves a system of interrelated, internet-connected objects that can collect and transfer data over a wireless network. So since this feels like very convoluted, I actually had to search this up a few times to understand it. An example would be a Google Home, which can interact with smart devices like the lights in your house or your AC over Wi-Fi to do things like turning off the lights or changing the temperature in your house. These products are often referred to as devices for smart homes because they can be all done remotely. Cookies, which I feel like sadly are not the ones you want to eat, are text files that you can identify on your computer when you're on a website. These are helpful because they can give you a more personalized experience because they record your search habits and information you've inputted on a website so you can access it faster. On the note of cookies, a browser cache is a special storage space for temporary files like cookies that make a device, browser, or app run faster and more efficiently. The browser cache automatically creates files, images, or other important data on your device when you open a website or app for the first time to make your experience more efficient and personalized. If you want to learn more about browser cache and cookies, you can click here to watch a webinar on the topic when you get your copy of the slideshow. Next up, we have plugins and extensions. These terms are often used interchangeably, but they have some slight nuances. Plugins, while they both add customizability to your software and devices, plugins often refer to things that expand and add new features to your software or device, whereas extensions, weirdly enough, build on existing features in your software. So for an example, a plugin might let you add things like your mouse or a Bluetooth device to a software you're using, whereas an extension would do something like adding better security or enhancing on something that's already in your application. If you want to learn more about this, similarly, there will be a link to a webinar on your slideshow. Next up, we have SEO, which stands for Search Engine Optimization. And that's a set of practices designed to improve the appearance and positioning of web pages in your search results. So a good example of this that I feel like you could talk about is keywords. So like if you search up things like weather online on Google, you would see results related to weather. That's what SEO does for you online. Next up, we have the UI, or user interface, which refers to all the visual and interactable things on an application or device. This can often be interacted through with things like a keyboard, a mouse, or your display screen that you're using right now. Next up, we have a URL, also known as the Uniform Resource Locator, which is a mechanism browsers use to retrieve any published resource on the web. One second. It can be found in the top search bar on your internet browser, as you can see here. A URL is just the address of a given resource or website on the internet or web. Similarly, but HTTPS is a primary way to send data from a web browser to a website. The S in it actually stands for security or securely. It encrypts the data entered into a user's device and safely delivers it to the website they're interacting with. It also encrypts the data going between your website and the browser. Next up, we have cross-platform applications, which refers to an app or device that can be compatible with multiple operating systems, so it can then be used on different smartphones, tablets, computers, watches, or even TVs. A good example of this is social media apps like Instagram and Facebook, since you can see that they're available for both Android and iOS users. The point of this is to have the opportunity to use one app no matter what operating system a device may be, and so they can profit more. Open source refers to open source software, which is code or other files that are designed to be publicly accessible for anyone to see, modify, and distribute the code as they see fit. So we highlighted a few of the key terms that you may see in these kind of presentations, but there's a lot more. I actually had to use this a little bit beforehand as well. So if you want to learn about more terms, you can use techterms.com, and you can see a pronunciation, a definition, and a context for its use in various systems, devices, and programs. So just for example, I'll quickly pull up the site. I hope y'all can still see this. And their top example is just 5G. So let's do that. So if we search it up, it says that 5G is the 5th generation of cellular data and technology. It's the successor of 4G and related technologies, including LTE. 5G cellular was started in 2018 and became more widespread in 2019 and 2020. So then if you wanted to learn more about this, you can see the differences between 5G and 4G connections and all the different minutiae and specifics of it. Often, these sections also have quizzes that can relate it to review your understanding on the concept and really solidify what these concepts mean. All right, let's see. So now we have a live demo. Thank you for listening, if you could. If you'd like to learn this lesson with the Cyber Seniors Mentor, please go to the website or call 1-844-217-3057 to register for a one-on-one phone session. Thanks.